Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I know I haven't done too many videos lately. I've been really busy. I've been working on the Valiant, the holiday season, blah, 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 lots of excuses. But today's video is going to be something a little bit different. I'm not going to work on the Valiant. Today I'm actually going to work on a wooden cutting board that my friends Brent and Vonnie gave to me at Christmas time to refinish for them. So that's going to be today's project. We're going to basically, this is a cutting board that's probably 20 or 30 years old. It's got lots of love and use, and we're just going to kind of bring it back to new condition. It's got some worn spots in the top of it, and I'll show it to you. And then we're gonna once we get it all refinished and cleaned up, and then we're gonna use some of this food grade mineral oil to treat it and make it last. So that's going to be today's project, and I'll get the mill set up, and I'll bring you over there and we'll show you how to do this. Well, I'll show you one way to do it. There are many ways to do it, like everything else. I'm using my mill just because it's more fun than a belt sander. See you later. Okay, well, here's the cutting board, and as you can see, it's had some love over the years. It's got some good amount of use on it, and it's basically just made of little strips of oak, I think, glued together. But if we put a parallel across it, you know, you can see it's got some wear. It's got some dips, and you know, it's just not totally flat anymore, and you know, it's got a lot of wear on the edges and stuff. And but anyway, I mean, it's a perfectly good cutting board. So we're just going to refinish it a little bit and clean it up, make it look like new. So there are many ways you could do this. I could use a belt sander. I could just use a regular palm sander. I'm not going to go so deep to remove all of these cuts. I'm trying to take off just a minimal amount. You know, so I might take, you know, 20 or 30 thousandths off of it, but probably not much more than that. So what I'm doing is I'm setting it up in the vise here on a set of parallels to make sure that it's level and kind of square with the world here. And I'm going to use, I've got a 2-inch shell mill here that I'm going to use to just kind of clean it up. And we'll see how this goes. I haven't done this before like this, so I'm going to move the camera a little bit, get it out of the way of the table, and we'll see if I can run the table down that way and still keep you in the picture. Yeah, I think that's going to be fine. So like I said, I'm not going to take off a ton of material on this thing. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. Not exactly sure what I'm going to run the speed of the mill at. Right now it's about 1200 RPM. I'm going to run a little hotter than that, I think. Maybe turn it up to about 2000. And I can bring the table up a little more. And then I'll make my adjustments here with the quill. And I just want to touch it. Just kind of like that. Lock that down. Yeah, and we'll just move across it and see how it goes. There's definitely going to be some high spots and low spots. We're expecting that. Most of the wear is going to be towards the middle of the cutting board, and then I'll expect to see this take some material off the outside edges as we get it flattened out. And it looks like that one corner where I started was kind of the high spot. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to adjust the quill down a little farther. A significant amount. Holy cow. All right, let's try that. And I'm running the feed here at a rate that I know isn't going to burn the wood. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think we're just going to leave it there. Making a lot of sawdust. So I took on this end probably 100 thousandths off of it just to get the thing to clean up. That's kind of surprising. I didn't think this was that crooked, but it's sitting flat on the parallels and it's in there flat with the world. So I guess maybe it wasn't all that straight to begin with. So we're just gonna keep going. Yeah, and there we go. We'll just basically rinse and repeat. So I'm just going to do this for the entire board, and I'll bring you back when I get it finished. So we've got it taken down. I just thought I'd show you the amount of sawdust chips that came off of just taking, you know, a few thousandths off the top of that board. The amount of sawdust is kind of unbelievable. So we're going to vacuum all this stuff up and see how it turned out. We'll do our best not to suck up our tools and pencils into the vacuum. We'll do a good cleanup later. For now, I just want to get the worst of the woodchuck dust out of here. All right, turn the vacuum off. So it did a pretty good job. It's definitely flat and smooth, and all the wear is gone. But I still think that I would like to give it a good sanding and make it a little bit smoother. And I also want to sand the edges and kind of clean those up a little bit. So I'm not going to take any more off with the mill. I think now I'm just going to sand it and get it really cleaned up, and then should be ready for re-oiling and stuff. So yeah, I'll get the sander set up and I'll bring you over. Okay, well, we're going to do a little bit of sanding here. What I've got on my oscillating sander, this is some 120 grit. I'll start there, and then I've got some 220, or maybe this is 320. Yeah, 320. So we're going to finish it with that, and then I'm going to just check all the edges. I've got my palm sander out, and let me just clean those up as well. But let's see how this goes. Oh, we have to plug it in. Funny thing about electric tools, they always work better when you plug them in. Well, that got it a little better, and as you can see, there's still some of the original knife marks and chips out of it. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about cleaning those up, but I think we'll clean up the edges and see how that goes, and just keep working on it. Okay, well, not bad. I think we'll switch to the 320 and put final finish on it and see what happens. Okay, so I think this is smooth enough. What But what I want to do now is I'm going to just take a damp cloth and I'm going to wipe the wood, just gently wipe it, and allow it to dry. And this is going to raise the grain of the wood. It's going to make the fibers expand, and when I come back to it when it's dry, it'll feel sort of fuzzy. And then I'll just take my final 320 paper and sand that fuzz off, and then it'll accept the finish a lot nicer. So that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to raise the grain on all the finished sides and let that dry for a couple hours and come back.
3 hours later.
Okay, well, it's been a couple hours, and if you feel this, it's a little bit fuzzy. So when you wipe the wood after you sand it, wipe the wood just with a damp cloth. It'll raise the grain in the wood, and then we'll come back and we'll sand it with some 320 and just make it nice and smooth. And what we're just going to do is sand the fuzz off of it. We're not going to like deep sand it. We're just going to basically take the raised edges off. And that's really about all it needs. It's very smooth. It's really smooth. And when you do that, you raise the grain and then you sand it. Now it'll accept the finish. We're going to use that food grade mineral oil on here. And so what I'm just going to do is take the fine grit paper and just touch up the edges and stuff again and clean it all up, and then we'll be ready to oil it. So that's basically it. I think now I'll go get a clean cloth and that food grade mineral oil, and we'll just apply some mineral oil to it and see how it's going to turn out. Like I said, we're going to use food grade mineral oil, and this is what you should really use on all cutting boards and stuff like that. It's safe for food. You know, I use it on wood furniture, butcher blocks, all kinds of stuff, and it maintains it and it protects it. And I usually will just apply some to the cloth and then we'll just kind of wipe it on. And I'll do this probably 3 or 4 times because this particular block, like I said, it's pretty old and it's fairly dried out. We do live in Arizona, and so it's definitely going to absorb this oil. But you can see how nice the finish comes out. And so what I'll do now that I've kind of given it one light coat, I'm going to apply a fair bit more oil and just kind of let it soak in. I'm just going to wipe it a little bit, just spread it around, get good even coverage. And I'm just going to let that soak in for probably another couple of hours. And F-16 overhead. So like I said, just going to let that mineral oil soak into the wood, get it good and saturated, nice down deep into the grain of the wood. And this thing will be ready to be put back into use. You can see how this is soaking in. Like if I turn this in the light, you can see there's certain pieces in here where it's soaking in more than others. So I'll just keep applying mineral oil until it's nice and even and thoroughly coated. And yeah, that looks a lot better than it did when I started. Doesn't look new because we still have a bunch of knife marks and stuff in it. But it's definitely super smooth, like it's like glass. So in fact, I'll take the camera down and I'll give you a bit of a close-up. So you can still see some of the original knife marks and stuff in here. I didn't want to take so much wood off that they'd take all that out. That wasn't the original goal. It was just trying to clean it up and, you know, make it look a little bit nicer and, you know, give it a whole new life. Now, like, I think she's had this board for years and years, decades, and you know, now it'll be good for another 20 or 30 years. So that was basically today's video, how to refinish cutting board. And like I said, there's many ways to do it. This is the one I choose to use with the tools and equipment and stuff that I have. And like I said, I could have done it with a sander. It's just more fun to do it on the mill. And plus, when I use the mill, I know that this is perfectly flat and straight. I haven't got any gouges or grooves or anything in it. So anyway, that's today's video. The next video is also going to be probably something a little bit different. I'm going to help my buddy Mark. I'm going to remake a part for an old 95-year-old Harley Davidson. So look for that on the next video. So as always, thanks very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear from you if you have a better way to do things or questions, whatever. Feel free. It'd be great. So again, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time.